Hello there. What's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? We're live tonight. Got a little bit of a different setup. I got an extra set of shelves, and it's not fully populated yet. We've still got. Well, it's not a sponsored video. Let me take Coke out of there. We still kind of got the masks and the Naboo terrain and some of the gaming stuff. But I used to have a smaller brown shelving system behind me for the Armada stuff. And since we're getting closer, I mean, we're gonna have new announcements this month, which also means Armada is gonna have its Clone Wars core set or the Clone Wars stuff coming out. I'm gonna need more storage space, so I got extra shelves. So now I can have Empire, Separatists, Rebellion, Republic, and then the bottom for all the squadrons and stuff. So making way, I'm doing things. It's been very rainy today in Florida. How you guys doing? Feel like a kid right before Christmas, waiting for all these announcements. I generally feel like that more so when I'm actually going to Gen Con, right? Because actually going is crazy. I just had Chewy's, which is a Tex-Mex place, and it was very, very spicy and had a lot of drainage. So I'm going to be coughing a little bit today. I'm very loose, very, very phlegmy today. So, cool thing is I've got a new Legion battle report that's up early on Patreon right now, which is featuring some of the Monster Fight Club scenery. That one will be really cool. So be sure to look out for that. So if you're a Legion player, you like the Legion battle reports, or you like terrain, that's coming. I'm looking at some feedback for some of the recent Armada videos that I've done, and I'm going to be addressing some of those lately, primarily because like one of the last ones I did was like a starter build, and I got a lot of criticism saying, how is this a starter build? We can't get any of the ships that are in here. And I'm like, okay, that's fair, but part of me is like, well, you can't get any ships right now, right? Armada's real popular right now, and we can't seem to find hardly anything. Ooh, there we go. What is your favorite fish? You're crazy. What a crazy question. All right, so let's talk about X-Men. Since we've got a couple of people joining, we're going to talk about X-Men because X-Men's trending today, which is really exciting. I have a feeling July is an important month for X-Men because wasn't San Diego Comic-Con supposed to be this month? That got canceled and they're going to do that virtually. I have a feeling we're going to get some serious X-Men news. I think X-Men news is really coming. So, Will, you just got a new fish tank. That's awesome. Congratulations, Tim. New stuff is some Legion core set for restocked on Miniature Market. That's cool. I'm checking out some of the questions here. Cameron, you can't wait for the virus to be over so you can do a tournament in Orlando. Yeah, that's might not be for a while. I got something cool and new I want to show you guys also. We got in the shop, in the merch store. So for anybody who wants to, whoa, Andrew Tucker, thank you, buddy. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. And thank you for helping support the channel. For you guys who don't know, super chat is a excellent way to support the channel. And so thank you, Andrew. He asks, do you think there'll be an X-Men core set? I think that's a great way for them to do things. I don't know if they will do a full-blown Crisis Protocol X-Men core set. I don't know. I don't know if they'll want to like do the base game all over again. What I think, it might make more sense for them to just follow with what they've already kind of done, and that's 2 characters in a pack. So this way you buy like 2 packs, and you got 4 characters, and maybe that's enough to build a team based on. Something like that. But X-Men's were really, really an interesting one because I have a feeling if they do an X-Men core set, and this is for Marvel Crisis Protocol, by the way. So a little bit of history. I published a video this morning talking about X-Men. If you're not familiar already, Marvel Crisis Protocol is made by Atomic Mass Games. They tweeted and posted to social media, Facebook, Twitter, all that. a picture of the X-Men logo, and it said "Yup." And so basically, X-Men is coming. They're going to announce X-Men and Marvel Crisis Protocol July 29th, which is like that Wednesday night before Gen Con. Same time they do the in-flight brief. Again, it's all, it might be at the in-flight brief. They didn't say that specifically, but that will be really interesting to see how that works out. All right, so, but here's what's going on with X-Men. So we know that they're doing X-Men for Marvel Crisis Protocol, which means there could be X-Men from War Games. Now, as to Andrew's question specifically with I don't think they're going to do a full-blown, like a whole starter box all over again with the X-Men, but that's not a bad idea for them to do that. I haven't seen, I don't know how Atomic Mass Games plans on doing everything. You know, their regular expansions are certainly expensive enough. And honestly, if they did a new core box, that would be great because that'd be a very good value. You think about it, each character is like $15 a piece on average because it's about $30 for a 2-pack or like $39 for like a one big character or something like that. So, like $15 to $20 a piece per character is like about an average price. So in a core box that was like only $100, you got 10 characters, which means their average price per character went down to $10. Plus you got terrain, plus you got dice, movement tools, and all that stuff. So if they do another core box, it'd be a tremendous value because you're thinking like 5 heroes, 5 villains. You're probably going to get at least a couple of core. Like who would they even do, right? And that's one of the things I want to talk about. I'd love to hear from you guys. Tell me who you think would be included because they can't include all of the All-Stars, right? They had some of the All-Stars in the core set because they were launching the whole game. But X-Men, I think they're only going to have like maybe 1 or 2 All-Stars on each side. Like, I don't think you'll see Wolverine. I don't think you'll see Wolverine. I think you'll see Cyclops and Jean Grey. If they're doing an X-Men starter, I think you'll see Cyclops and Jean Grey because Cyclops is an All-Star. Jean Grey probably slightly less, unless of course they do full-blown Phoenix, but she deserves her own expansion, right? So just regular Jean Grey, sure. Maybe like human version of Beast. If they do like a classic X-Men starter, Iceman. You see Iceman's pretty strong. So like Cyclops and Iceman. So Cyclops, Iceman, Beast, human Beast, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Iceman, Beast, and Angel, right? Classic. Like that's probably your 5 heroes. This saves a whole bunch of awesome X-Men characters for additional ones. Wolverine be a standalone expansion, I think, because everybody's also going to buy Wolverine, right? Everybody's going to want Cyclops. Everybody's going to want Wolverine. A lot of people are probably going to want Iceman, right? I think out of like Beast and Angel, people are probably going to want Archangel more, so they'll buy like the second version of Angel. I think they'll probably want like Blue Beast more than like classic humanoid Beast, right? So I feel like it's safe for them to give those out, just like they put Black Widow in the Crisis Protocol thing, but then they have the new version of Black Widow. You know, I don't know, but that's a guess. They might put Wolverine in the core set to get people to buy it. I mean, maybe, but then again, they could launch him with the core set. Same reason Hulk launched alongside the core set. Hulk and MODOK kind of launched at the same time as the Crisis Protocol core set, so that like, hey, people are going to probably want Hulk and he'll be expensive, you know, and so they'll hopefully buy the core set and Hulk. I think that's what people will probably do. But Storm is another one, right? I mean, I think in the 90s, didn't they have Blue Team and Gold Team? So I don't think you'd see Storm and Cyclops in the same box because they kind of lead different teams. My X-Men knowledge is a little rusty, but hopefully I have at least enough to be able to get in there and get interested and have fun with it, you know. Now, villains is a hard part. Villains is a tough one. I think you want Sabretooth to launch in the same way that Wolverine launches. So if one's in the core box, the other one's definitely in the core box. If one's a standalone, I think the other one's standalone. And by the way, if you guys are not interested in Marvel Crisis Protocol, we're going to be talking about other things too. So don't worry too much about that. But yeah, I think you could do like the Blob. I think you could do the Blob in the core set. I don't think you do Magneto in the core set, but you could. You could absolutely, actually, you should do Magneto in the core set. I think so. I think that should be your all-star villain. And then he could also be an ultimate one. I think you do Magneto, Mystique, maybe Blob, Toad, and I mean, you could do Sabretooth, but yeah, like maybe somebody like Black Tom or something like that. You know, somebody who's kind of like a B-lister or something like that. So something like that. Those are some guesses. Mystique would be fun though. Swap out miniatures, right? She can become any other miniature, but she keeps her own health pool. Avalanche and Pyro. Oh, very good. Pyro should definitely be in it. Pyro should definitely be in it. So if you guys are just joining us, we're talking about Marvel Crisis Protocol. They just announced X-Men. Well, they teased X-Men. It's going to be officially announced at the end of this month. The same date and time as the in-flight brief. That much is exciting. Speaking of Marvel Crisis Protocol 2, we have, I'll probably post this to social media, but there was a giveaway. Monster Fight Club's Metropolis terrain. The Metropolis terrain. I just selected a winner. It's going to be Eric Ludwig. And we're going to, Eric entered the contest. He won a pledge from Monster Fight Club, so I'm going to try and reach out to Eric. So Eric, if you happen to be watching, congratulations. If not, expect some like a Facebook message or something like that, and I'm gonna put you in touch with the guys at Monster Fight Club, and they're gonna get your pledge squared away. But I'm gonna announce that also. But I just wanted to give you guys, I wanted to let you guys know there was a winner selected for that. So if you had pledged and you were kind of waiting, or when the pledge manager comes around, or if you didn't pledge at all, you can go and do a late pledge as well. But I'm super excited about this stuff. I really, really like their terrain and stuff, and it's amazing. And I reached out to them. It's not like even like this is like a business, like a paid thing or anything like that. I don't usually, like, I'll do Kickstarter previews that are paid, but other than that, like, my regular content is only stuff that I'm excited about. Like even Marvel Crisis Protocol, I don't even get that many views on my MCP videos, but I really enjoy that game, so I'm gonna keep talking about it. Okay, let's see. Let's talk about more X-Men news. All right, so X-Men is trending now. You guys know, if you guys watched my live streams, we talked about another X-Men game coming from Fantasy Flight. That was teased in the Lion Rampant stuff. So there's an X-Men board game coming. It's unclear if it's going to be like a regular board game or something more like Imperial Assault. Could you imagine? Here's the real question. Could you imagine if FFG announces, here's our new X-Men game, and it looks just like Imperial Assault? Wouldn't that be something? When it plays like Imperial Assault. Maybe it's fully compatible, but they don't announce it, right? Like maybe they don't advertise that it's fully compatible, but you look at the dice and they're the same, and you look at the stats and they're kind of in line and stuff like that. Wouldn't that be really cool to take Imperial Assault versus X-Men? Tell me that would not be awesome. Star Wars versus X-Men. Tell me that wouldn't be awesome. All right, and that would be different enough than from Crisis Protocol, because that's more of a, campaign type of game. Which member of the X-Men are you most looking forward to in Crisis Protocol? Whew, tough one. Magneto would be really, really fun. I know he's a villain, right? But he belongs in that group. Definitely Wolverine. I know that sounds very cliche. I'm also really interested in seeing how Cyclops would play in the game, with it being ranged attacks are very important in that game. Jean Grey might be a little OP. So that one kind of worries me almost a little bit. I would love to see Phoenix versus Thanos, though. That I want to see. I want to see when Marvel Crisis Protocol gets big enough to where they have a lot of superpowered villains, then you can take the epic versions of villains versus epic versions of villains. Because I want to see Dark Phoenix versus Thanos versus, who's another really, a Doctor Doom, right? I want to see, Titans of Industry versus each other, versus, full power Captain Marvel versus Apocalypse. Yes, Apocalypse! How did I forget Apocalypse? thirsty. Sorry. All right. So, but in other news, X-Men is trending today. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some major X-Men news from Marvel Studios about maybe X-Men movies or something like that in their virtual San Diego Comic-Con, which I think is next week. I think that's next week. I think it's like, no, it was supposed to be the week before Gen Con, so either next week or the week after. I don't have a calendar right in front of me right now, but yeah. So I think that'll be coming next week. So that's exciting. That's exciting. So it'll be interesting to see what SDCC has. Although, kind of like and I wonder if they're gonna have to put any kind of movie news on hold because like they can't shoot movies right now, you know. So anything, even if they announce something now, unless they've already shot it, it's got to be like, well, unless it's animated, you know, or video games. I mean, they can announce video games. People can work on video games from home. People can work on animation from home. You can't really shoot movies from home. Not good movies. You see that Princess Bride like remake, you know. All right. So, all right, we're gonna talk about some other games now too. Let me tell you about. Sorry. So I got a new piece of merch in from the store, and this is a bag. And if you're just looking for a little bag, it's actually a lot bigger than I thought it was. This is the large version of my Darth Vader nunchuck bag. It's a zipper bag. It's kind of like a money purse, right? And I mean, I'm not going to really try and sell you on the values of a bag. It's a bag, right? It's got the thicker kind of woven interior, and it looks like it's a fairly pretty heavy duty bag, but it was a lot bigger than I was expecting. I might end up getting a smaller one that should be about half the size because I was looking for a bag to put my tokens in for Legion. So when you pull, you know, I mean, this one's big enough certainly that you can, you know, you can shake up your tokens and randomize them really, really good. But there's two sizes. The smaller one is actually a little cheaper. So, but if you wanted a bigger bag, like, I think you could fit an iPad in here. It's ginormous. Out of curiosity, we could fit. You could probably fit like a lot of stuff in here. You could fit all your like your tokens, rangefinders, movement tools, all of that stuff. You could probably fit everything in something like this. I've got some 5th Trooper, order tokens. Like, look at how much bigger the bag is than them. So this is the large bag. There's a smaller bag too if you're interested in something like this. I'm gonna probably try and come up with some other designs too. But yeah. So, but that's like it's one of those things where if you want to support the channel but you didn't want to do a super chat or Patreon or something like that and you wanted to get something for it, that's one way that you can do that. There's also, if you want to check out the links below this video, there's masks and shirts and all kinds of all kinds of stuff down there in the storefront, in the Crabbok Teespring storefront that helps support the channel, like Double Critical merch as well. All right, so let's talk about gaming. Let's talk about Gen Con. How excited are you guys too? I mean, I'm very excited. I'm curious what games we have represented here, like who is playing what, who is looking forward to what, or how many of you are looking forward to like multiple game news, right? You thought you saw a teaser for Mandalorian faction. Well, they have said for a while that they were looking at doing stuff from the Mandalorian in Star Wars Legion. It's been confirmed that they are working on it. It's just unconfirmed how it's going to be or when it's going to be. It may be years. We may be years away. It might be like we might be finishing up season 2 of The Mandalorian before we finally get a preview of what's coming from Mandalorian season 1 into Star Wars Legion. You know, and actually I would be okay with that because I would want stuff to be more well thought out. For example, if all you know of season 1 is like, hey, we've got the Mandalorian, we've got a couple of other Mandalorians. We could do, like that heavy Mandalorian. We could do the Armorer or whatever, right? And then they start working on all of those as maybe like individual characters, and maybe they can go into any faction, or maybe there's only a Mandalorian faction, right? Like whatever design decisions they make, there could be things in season 2 that totally say, oh, we should have rethought this, right? Like they could take off their helmets and find out that they're all mind-controlling aliens underneath, and that the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, is the only one who's actually still human. And that's why they don't take off their helmets. And it's a massive conspiracy. And now you look back and you're like, oh, well, then we really should have changed them to, you know, involve some type of massive conspiracy, you know, or something weird, right? And so, like, it's always better to, like, know where the direction of where something's going before you do that. Because they did that with X-Wing and their The Force Awakens starter that they did for X-Wing First Edition. They put out a whole bunch of stuff before we really knew anything about the movie, and the only thing we knew is there was a pilot named Poe Dameron, and they didn't know at the time that he's the greatest starfighter pilot, right? So they only made him they made him not the greatest pilot. They gave him a pilot skill 8 when he should have been pilot skill 9. So they just made him a moderately good pilot as opposed to a great pilot. And so so then they had to go back and make another one that was fixed where he was supposed to be. So, you know, little things like that are like, come on, guys, what? So it's better, you know, taking your time. But I'm excited to see what they do with the Mandalorian. I want to see how they're going to do, like, neutral-ish characters, or characters that aren't bound to any of these armies. Are they going to just pick the closest one, you know, or maybe a combination? Or are they going to go with sub-factions? Like, I can understand Darth Maul being separatist, and I'm hoping we're not going to get an announcement on him before Gen Con. We're not going to. It's going to be the in-flight brief when they show us him. But it makes sense to me that Darth Maul would be separatist. Darth Maul, like Episode 1 Maul, because he was still working for Palpatine and to form the Civil War. He kind of, you know, he was working with the Trade Federation, or, you know, he was aligned with Maul and the Trade Federation more or less for that one, and that became the Separatists. So, you know, it's not really a stretch to see him in the CIS. However, if they do another version of Maul with robot legs, leading, you know, Death Watch and stuff like that, now it's more of a stretch to see him in the CIS because he was at odds with them very much. So he was very much like the Clone Wars was very much like a 3-faction kind of show. In some ways, more than 3. I mean, if you look at Mandalore, the good Mandalore versus the bad Mandalore, they were all kind of on their own, right? Like, that whole Mandalorian war, none of them wanted anything to do with the other factions, right? Well, I mean, for a little while they did, but, you know, that's... So, like, there's a whole lot of that going on. What about X-Wing? Any X-Wing players watching today? Because we did learn that they are going to actually make an X-Wing announcement. There was some people noticed that they did not include X-Wing in their announcement of the in-flight brief. So a lot of people thought, hey, you didn't say you were going to be doing X-Wing. What's going on with that? All right, so no, so I reached out to Brian Kalin, and he did tell me, no, we're actually absolutely going to have an X-Wing announcement. It's just didn't get included in that. You know, we only had so many individual games we could name, and we already had 2 Star Wars games listed, so we just included X-Wing and many more, and much, much more. But yes, always with factory defects. Let me see. I missed a couple of questions, so I'm going to go back through and look at some of the chat here. New Mutants for Marvel Crisis Protocol. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff associated with X-Men, like X-Force too, X-Factor, Deadpool probably show up now. Colossus will be a really fun one too. I would love to see Colossus there. Are you more excited for Padme or Cad Bane? Oh my goodness! CJ O'Neill. Whoa, dude. Thank you so... Holy don't want to get in trouble. Holy flabbergast. Dude, thank you, CJ. $99 freaking and 99-cent super chat. Holy... Oh my gosh. Dude, was that an accident? Like, did you mean to do that? I'm a little bit speechless right now. Hold on a second. Holy crap. What is going on? That's crazy. You're freaking kidding me? Dude, thank you, CJ. Oh my gosh. All right. Love the channel and content. Need more Nemesis. Wow. Well, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna make it a point to do some more Nemesis, dude. That's awesome. You know, the hard thing is it's so hard to play Nemesis right now, right? With lockdown, dude. Thank you, CJ, man. Thank you so much. Did you have CJ? Did you actually were you able to back the new Kickstarter and you getting Lockdown? Have you seen Lockdown? Because that was exciting. I was really excited to hear from Martin from Awakened Realms, and he's like, "Hey, you want to do a tabletop simulator game of Nemesis?" And I was pretty much like, "Yes, yes, absolutely, let's do it, let's do it." So Lockdown looks cool. It's interesting too because like I don't normally play on tabletop simulators. So maybe I'm gonna have to do that. Maybe we'll have to do like some Nemesis on TTS because that's really the way to do it, right? So that would be a really fun thing. I'm gonna plan something like that. I'll probably post it in maybe my Discord. So if you're a member of the Discord, send me a message on there. Let me know. I'll be sure to include you if you're down to play in tabletop simulator or something like that. That'd be awesome. But yeah, Nemesis is an amazing game. It may be my favorite board game. It's hard to say exactly. It's definitely top 3 because I think my favorite's probably Twilight Imperium 4th edition. But there's such a weight there because Twilight Imperium you kind of need like 4 or 5 players at least, and that's going up to 8. Whereas Nemesis you can really have a good time with like 3 with Nemesis, right? Although I think Nemesis is really best with 5, but we'll see how the Mars stuff works out for Nemesis. Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm curious if you guys do like the Sun Drop or if you just do your own stuff because I kind of like just painting my own stuff. Although I will say, for some of the newer Nemesis, when the Kickstarter extras came in, I've speed painted those and they didn't come out as good as I'm not as proud of those. I finished painting them like 20 minutes before I had to pack them up and take them to a party where we were supposed to be playing, and so I was rushing through them. Well, thank you again, CJ. Oh my gosh, wow, that's the new record, man. I don't know if I'll ever beat that. That's incredible. Woo! All right, so gosh, what were we talking about now? My whole train of focus is gone. Carl Duty, how you doing? Have you been playing Marvel Champions at all? So, no, I've played it a few times. I guess I played it right before. I played it in January. I don't think there's anything wrong with the game. From a certain point of view, I'm a little overloaded on games that I cover. So I decided, at least in the case of Marvel Champions, I had to take the hard cut and say I'm probably going to take a pass on this game because it's not just going to be like a one-time buy. It's going to be like, oh, if I buy it, I'm going to want to cover it, and then I'm going to have to buy every pack, and then I'm going to need a way to store all of these cards. And card games drive me crazy. I do like the model for Marvel Champions that you don't have to deck build, right? You don't have to. You can just go with the default recommended deck list for each character. If I were to play that again, that's all. I'm not going to deck build. Like if I were to play, there's a little part of me that thinks they're going to do a Star Wars version of Marvel Champions, and in that case, I'll probably get into that one. But I'm not going to deck build. I'm just going to play the base decks as they come and kind of limit. Now, if I was exclusively covering a game like Marvel Champions, then I would totally deck build. But and I'd be covering like here's how to build the best Captain America deck, etc. But I there's other games that I like talk strategy with that I can't really get into that as much. Did you ever try A Song of Ice and Fire by Simon? No. I'll tell you why. Right around the time that they announced that Kickstarter, I had just started a game called Rune Wars miniatures game that was, from what I could tell, identical, and that it was a miniatures game of the exact same scale, a fantasy medieval game with trays, a rank and file war game on a 6x3 mat that used trays. And at a glance, Song of Ice and Fire looked identical. But what gave Rune Wars 2 major competitive advantages were, one, it was made by Fantasy Flight, which means it's going to target everybody and I won't have a hard time finding people to play. against that will have their own stuff, and 2 that it had fantasy creatures, right? Like there was worms and golems, and there was magic. And Song of Ice and Fire is a lot more like, here's men, here's more men, here's more men, here's men but on horses, here's more men but now off the horses, here's more men, these ones are on horses, here's men with padded armor, here's men with padded armor and shields. I'm like, all right, it just seemed too boring for me compared to other options that were out. So I did not go into Song of Ice and Fire, although I have heard that it's actually a pretty good game. I've heard some mixed reviews on it, but a good friend of mine really likes it, and you know, like that seems cool, you know. Like, and it turns out Rune Wars didn't really last. John says, "Did you see the teaser for the new Twilight Imperium expansion?" Oh, I did. And I'm going to make content about that. We're going to talk about it. That's like on my list of things to talk about. I'm not sure how many people that follow my channel are really interested in Twilight Imperium, but it looks like a big expansion, and I'm heartbroken over it because I have done more customization to my Twilight Imperium. I'm going to pull it out for you. Let's look at Twilight Imperium. I've done more for this game than I've done for any other game. Any other single board game, not necessarily minis game. Okay, first off, I got the Broken Token insert. That's a big deal. That took me a week to put the Twilight Imperium thing together. Okay. And not only did I put it together, but I also stained it. So it's not just normal wood, now it's like a walnut. I stained every individual, every single piece of wood and the whole organizer. The whole insert is 100% stained, which is awesome, right? But not only that, I painted all the ships. Yes, you heard me right. I painted all of the ships. Like these are not just yellow. And I didn't just put a wash on them. Like I primed them all, painted them all, and washed, dry brushed, and added highlighting. I did like kind of a speed painting, but when you've got 1,000 ships, you know that's still a tremendous amount of work. And on top of that, I also got custom dice. Every player now gets their own colored dice. I've got 10 D10s of every color available. I even look all the D10 sets that I've got. The only color that was not available was a purple set of D10s. So I held off, and I just had purple player use black because I had 2 sets of black for a whole year until I got to Gen Con again last year and scoured the convention floor for that purple set of D10s and spent a lot because dice aren't super cheap at Gen Con when you're custom getting dice. So yeah, I scoured trying to make this like the perfect board game box with all the best components inside. And now they've thrown it all away because now every faction is going to get more ships. Every color, every player is going to have more ships, so more of just probably 1 or 2 more of everything. And I'm like, oh no, so it means I have to color match every single ship. And it means I have to get more dice. And who knows what colors the two new player stuff is going to be. And what if they don't all fit in this box? I'm going to have to get more insert stuff. Like, I'm hoping Broken Token comes up with the catch-up kit, right? I'm really hoping Broken Token says like, oh, well, there's 2 new factions or 7 new factions, and there's no way it's all gonna fit in here. Like, there's just no way. Oh, so I don't know what to do. I'm sure they'll figure something out. It'll probably be a custom box, kind of like Rising Sun's custom box. So it'll be a whole wooden box, and I'll be like throwing this box away or something. But I love Twilight Imperium. Love Twilight Imperium. But Nemesis is up there, also is Rebellion. Rebellion wins specifically when you have 2 players because it's the best one to play with 2, and exactly 2. More than two, then you gets into like Rising Sun is really good, Nemesis is really good, Twilight Imperium is really good. Unmatched is actually really cool. I really am liking Unmatched so far. Crisis Protocol is really fun. Generally am more eager to play Crisis Protocol against people who have already played it before, so I don't have to teach, because I always find myself teaching new people Crisis Protocol. And that's another reason I don't do battle reports, because frankly, not everyone is comfortable having their gameplay filmed and broadcast over YouTube, especially when they've never played a game before. Because a lot of people are like, whoa, I don't even know how to play this game. I don't want to publish my performance on YouTube and stuff. So I don't even ask somebody I don't even bother, like, if it's first time. I'm like no, let's just relax. I'll just teach you the game, and because I do film a lot of my games, but for stuff like that, I don't do. So, but those are some of my favorite games. Let's see. We already know Armada's coming, right? If you guys didn't catch at the beginning, I've got a new shelving system behind me. So I've got extra shelves. I've got spare shelf here, spare shelf here. I've got the SSD way up top. Got the SSD up there. The rest of the Empire down here. Got all the Rebels on one, which I'm running out of room here. But all the Rebels here. I've got room for Separatists, and then I got a whole other shelf for Republic. And I think actually I might do Separatists at the bottom, because if they've got to do a Lucre Hulk, and they've got to do the Ion Cannon, the Malevolence, right? And those are going to be big, so those are going to take up a lot more space, even though it's really just, I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited about it though, man. I can't wait to see. What makes me so excited about Armada Clone Wars is not just how it starts, but how they do like waves 3 and 4, right? Because it's also a step towards maybe we'll get more Empire and Rebellion ships too at some point. I don't think we'll see anything announced for the Empire or the Rebellion. We got a super chat from Bleed Green Productions. Thank you, Bleed Green. Thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate you guys. You guys are actually here almost all the time. I think you're one of you guys and Will with your favorite fish are some of the people that I think I show up to every single, or at least almost every single live stream. So thank you for that as well. But yeah, so we've got let's see, like really cool Armada news coming. Hopefully some X-Wing news coming. They did say they're going to announce the next wave. I wonder if they're going to include those squadron packs or those Aces packs in the next wave, or if it's just going to be the 4 Clone Wars ships, the 2 Republic and 2 Separatists that we've already kind of seen spoiled. That's one thing that's also pretty exciting. But I mean, guys, all of you that are showing up, like, I'm curious if you're excited about the X-Men news, X-Men from Marvel Crisis Protocol, X-Men from Fantasy Flight Games. That's huge too, man. I can't wait to see that. I've been advised that they were not happy about that being leaked, and so I'm trying to not mention the title that was leaked. So I'm trying to let them save some of their thunder, but at the same time, since now that Atomic Mass is like, X-Men guys, Asmodee's doing X-Men, I'm like, all right, well, Fantasy Flight's gonna do it too. Like if Asmodee's doing it, then everybody's gonna be doing it. The same thing happened last year. Atomic Mass Games did Marvel Crisis Protocol, and then Fantasy Flight did Marvel Champions. And they'll probably be different. The games will probably play very different. Fantasy Flight's game is probably not going to be like a skirmish battle war game. It's probably going to be more of a strategy board game. And which could fit the category of Imperial Assault. I wonder if they'll change the model. If they do kind of copy the Descent model, the Imperial Assault model, I think they will go without skirmish. I think they'll stick to regular Imperial Assault rules, or regular Descent style rules. Let's check some of the Q&A. Eric Ludwig, Eric, did you hear my news before, man? Are you the same Eric Ludwig that is on Facebook that answered the giveaway? I hope you are. Let me know, because you won the Monster Fight Club, the Monster Scenery, the Metropolis giveaway thing. Oh, we got a super chat from Gordon Ray. Oh, I hope I'm saying your name right. Gordon Ray? I'm guessing it's like more of like a Gordon Ray, like a ray gun, right? Let's see. Do you think the AT-AT will be announced for Legion at Gen Con? Wow, that's a great question. I think there's a chance of that. I think there's a very, very decent chance that they're going to. And thank you, by the way. Thank you, Gordon, for the super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel. And Eric Ludwig, I'll talk to you in a second. Yeah, stand by, man. But yeah, no, I think the AT-AT is definitely something that is probably coming. I'm in the garage, by the way. Do you hear that? That's the dryer finishing up. I should have turned it off because it's warm in here. All right, but no, the AT-AT is it's been hinted at a lot. Andrew Navarro talked about it a while back at the Ask Me Anything he did before he ended up stepping down. And we asked about things like the AT-AT and other big things. He did say that they wanted. There's certain things that are so big they're hard to do, but they still want to do. He talked about maybe scaling them down a little bit. Hold on, let me get you something. We're gonna look at. I mean, you've probably seen this before if you watch a lot of my battle reports. You've probably seen the AT-ATs before for Legion, but this is the Wizards of the Coast AT-AT. It's not the same scale as Legion, right? But when I put a dude here, that still looks really good, right? Even if it's like half scale, and I think this isn't half scale. This is in between full scale and half scale. It's just shrunk down probably like 30% or something like that, but not shrunk down 50%. That's my guess. But yes, like this would be amazing in the game, and it's not too big. It fits. It doesn't have to move. I mean, I use it as a terrain piece, like an abandoned AT-AT. But we all want this on our tabletops. You have this on your tabletop, people are gonna be like, "Whoa, what are you playing?" So, yeah, and there's missing stuff. So there's stuff that I don't know. There's surprises for me. Legion is actually the only current game that's gonna have super actual surprises for me. Anakin and Maul are the two things that we know that are coming, that were leaked and that haven't been erased yet. Everything else, I have no idea. I haven't even heard whispers of, right? And all I can do is go way back, and things that we kind of know FFG has mentioned, like more Mandalorians, things from The Mandalorian, or maybe they're both, they're two in the same. The AT-AT or the LAT, the LAT is another really big thing that could happen. And then we can just speculate on, well, what other Jedi could they do? What other Sith could they do? And all the big characters that we just know are going to be coming eventually. Those are things that might get announced, right? You wouldn't be crazy for saying, I'm pretty sure they're going to do Ahsoka at some point. Of course they will. You wouldn't be crazy for saying, I think they're going to do Mace Windu at some point. I'm pretty sure they will. There's some characters that are more fringe that you're like, ooh, like Quinlan Voss. Are they going to do Quinlan Voss? Maybe. I think there's a good way to fit him into the game if you give him some kind of teamwork with Asajj Ventress and kind of do this whole like cross-faction option, light side, dark side, like there's a whole lot of cool stuff they could do there, but he's not as important of a character, right? So, but really we're at the speculation point right now. So your guess is as good as mine, but I think there's a real chance for an AT-AT to be announced. And here's a good reason to do it now. If they are going to announce it, it's presumably going to be risky, right? Making big stuff is risky for a company because people have to pre-order it, and like the Super Star Destroyer was one of those things. Retailers are nervous. Should we do a $200 product, right? And presumably an AT-AT will probably be in the same price ballpark as the Super Star Destroyer. Over $100 at least. Maybe under $200, maybe somewhere around $150, right? Maybe somewhere in there, maybe more, maybe up to $199, maybe. I don't know. But you want to announce that when the world is watching. And that's what they did with the Super Star Destroyer. I think if they ever do announce an AT-AT for Legion, I think it'll be at Gen Con. We got another super chat from Damon Williams. What's going on, Damon? Army reservist? Hooah, go Army. Absolutely. I'm an Army veteran myself, so thank you for your service. I'd love to hear about your time in service. Wow. All right. And Gareth, another super chat. All right, I'm going to get to you in a second, Gareth. I'm going to answer. I'll talk a little bit to Damon and limits to how much I want to talk about with that, but also, Eric Ludwig, if you're still watching, I want to get back to you on this. Yes, you did win the Monster Scener. I haven't made a formal announcement yet. I wasn't sure if you were going to be watching. Email me I'm going to put you in touch with the people at Monster Fight Club. They asked me to just, redirect you to them. They're going to square you away with your pledge. And my email is mailcrabbok@gmail.com. You can find that on the back end of my channel. It's also if you go to crabbok.com, you will see a little contact me thing. It's there also. But just send me an email and I'll get you squared away. Or you can even Facebook message me. Since I already know your Facebook. Okay, all right. So let's talk to Damon first. So my time in service, I'll give you the short version. I joined the Army straight out of high school. In my summer of my junior year, I did a delayed entry program and did it basically for college. I had no idea what I was going to do, and they said, hey, maybe I had a good ASVAB score, so I went in for computers, and went to Fort Gordon. And had learned a little bit about computers, started getting into IT work, which is now what I still do. And then, the whole digital army, all that stuff, Force 21, all that stuff happened, which was really good for me. Got me a lot of training, got me a lot of exposure. And I spent most of my time at Fort Hood, Texas. Did a little bit of stuff in the Middle East, well before Iraq and then after Iraq. So I've been to a lot of the countries in the Middle East, and I ended up working at 4th Infantry Division at some of the line units there. I was in an armor battalion, and as a computer guy, fixing the commander's email and stuff like that. And then they worked for the command group for General Odierno and the ADCs over there, and some of those guys and stuff. So that was fun. And then I just got out. I was gonna re-up in Iraq. And all the sergeants, because I was working at the top, I had a lot of like old school and high ranking dudes that were like, listen, son, you don't want to re-up now. It's not worth it anymore. They keep cutting our pension. It's not worth re-upping. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe I won't. So I got home and had a job offer waiting for me in Florida. So I moved to Orlando, and I've been here ever since. I still work for the Army. There's limits to how much I can say about what I do, but I still work for the Army, and I'm a contractor. And the fun thing is I work with a bunch of veterans, and so we get to stay. I really like working with veterans, and because there's certain sensibilities, there's certain camaraderie that we always are gonna have. So that much is cool. But I'm very much civilianized right now. Like I'm a super, I'm so. I don't know. I'm the Joker. I was like the Joker kind of guy in the Army. Gareth says, thank you again, and thank you, by the way, thank you, Damon and Gareth, by the way, for the super chats. Gareth says, love all the content, especially the Armada stuff. Keep it coming. As an excuse in fun absurdity, design a hypothetical Armada Death Star. Oh my gosh. Okay, you got me here. This is a tough one. Well, first off, thank you, and I appreciate. I'm glad that you like the Armada content. It is my favorite game. Although I was talking a lot about all these other games, those are board games. Like Armada is my favorite tabletop game. So that board games and miniatures games combined. I don't get to play it as much though, which is kind of a bummer. But definitely, it's still my favorite game. But yeah, I'm looking forward to making more Armada content too. It's been a rough couple of months trying to hammer out content daily. It's been really hard. But hypothetical Death Star expansion. Well, I'll take it a couple of ways. Death Star expansion could be announced as maybe a playmat where your fleet's above the Death Star, and you actually get a plastic playmat. Right, and that is a 6x3, and it's got its trenches, stuff like that. You can send your fighters in. Maybe you can send fighters on trench runs. You can send squadrons on attack runs on the trench, and that's in the very middle of the board. So it's like a custom scenario. Now, alternatively, you do something kind of like where it's abstract, where the Death Star is just big, like SSD sized. And it's just meant to be like it's farther off in the distance. That's why it's not bigger. But yeah, well, the super late, it would have to insta kill anything. You'd probably get to fire it twice. I would say it takes 3 rounds to charge. You can use it on the first, on the second round, and on the 5th round. You actually get to do something with it. I think that's, or maybe we change it up. Maybe we say the 3rd round and the 6th round. This way, that big flagship or whatever you run gets like more turns out of it. So on round, yeah, you get to charge them on at the beginning of round 3 and the beginning of round 6. It fires and destroys 1 ship and does, let's say, half of that ship's max hull in damage to every ship at distance 1 to 2 of it. So the ship explodes in a fireball that can also hurt nearby ships. So you have to also kind of spread out a little bit. There you go. There's that's what I've got. That's what I've got for the hypothetical Death Star expansion. All right. You're trying to figure out Armada on TTS. Oh, good luck. I don't even try really with TTS. Ash says, thank you for your enthusiasm and passion for games. It's helped me turning gaming into a hobby. Well, thank you, Ash. I have a lot of enthusiasm. I mean, that's what got me into it. I got into it to the whole game, or to all of the YouTube stuff, just because there wasn't a whole lot at the time. There's more now. Some games have a lot more content creators now. X-Wing has a lot of content creators out there. There's a lot of podcasts, there's a lot of blogs, there's a lot of sources of information for X-Wing. Legion is getting a lot. Legion has, Legion Academy, 5th Trooper, Stabcast, oh my gosh, who are the guys in Vegas? And I can't, and they're really cool too. And I'm sorry that I'm running out of names right now, but I tried to pile on too much. And it's not balancing on. Wow, I'm not going to stop on this. Hold on a second. What's the podcast out of Vegas? This Legion is their veterans, or I don't know if they're veterans or still active duty, but and War Corgi. Yes, there's definitely War Corgi. I was going to get there. Wow, it's not there's Notorious Scoundrels as well. There's MOTF out of Vegas. Yeah, or I mean out of Australia. Love MOTF, by the way. There's some good guys. But yes. So but my point is, there is a lot of stuff. There's a lot of content. Why is that? Oh. Do you ever lose a miniature, and it's an expensive miniature to replace? I'm going to tell you what I've lost, and it puts me in a conundrum. It puts me in a conundrum because I lost this mini. I don't know how I lost it, and I don't know where it is, and I don't know when I'm going to find it. I have an idea. But it's this guy. It's this guy right here. Now, this guy, for you guys who don't play Legion, this is your astromech for the Empire. This guy only comes in the Imperial Specialists pack. That pack is not hard. It's not easy to find right now. It's always been hard. The Specialists packs have always been very hard to find. I bought 2 Imperial Specialists packs because I wanted to have 2 officers and 2 medical droids and 2 Imperial comm technicians. But that was the most I saw myself. I never thought I would ever use a 3rd, so I'd never need a 3rd one of those. To get a 3rd one now would be actually very difficult. And I've never used this guy, but I've had some build ideas to use 2 astromechs, and I want to try it. But I can't find the mini. I've got the cards. Can't find the mini. Really confounds me because if I attempt it and I like the build, like let's say I proxy and I use R2D2 instead or something like that. Well, now I can't bring it to a tournament because somebody might say, hey, that's not the, even if I get like a really nice looking other mini, somebody might say that's not the real mini. So it wouldn't be legal. I could probably borrow it, but then I'm depending on somebody, So, really stinks to lose a mini that is kind of like almost irreplaceable at this point since they're so hard to find those packs. It's one of those things. And I thought I saw it for a second. I was looked over and I was like, oh, is that it? And they're like, no, it was something else. So that's what made me think of that. Random thought, kind of like your attention span and then a squirrel runs by. Squirrel. Have any of you guys seen the lightsaber videos we've done, or I've done lately? I've had the Asajj Ventress sabers and the Kit Fisto saber. Those have been pretty interesting. Fun fact, one of the reasons I do the collectibles on the channel and I review the collectibles, those sometimes are, they're expensive. It's expensive to get the lightsabers. So they're a gamble for me. They're usually more of a long-term investment. And what I mean by that is, I'll show you this. This thing, the Riot Control Baton. This was $200 when I bought it. It doesn't even work anymore, does it? There it goes. Yeah, it's crap. It has not stood the test of time. It has not endured very well. But the review I have of this brought in a lot of people to the channel. Especially at the end of last year, beginning of this year, when there was a Fortnite event for Star Wars, for Episode 9. They had this long-running Fortnite event. And one of the things you could buy for Fortnite was you could buy a Riot Control Baton. You could buy this in Fortnite. All the Fortnite players were watching my unboxing of this, and I got a couple 100,000 views on it. A lot of new subscribers also. And so it's a great way, by getting high visibility Star Wars merchandise on this channel, to reach new people and tell them about all these cool games, and kind of it helps me serve as a gateway. And so that's one of the reasons that I have so many more subscribers than other outlets that are, covering these games, is because I'm reaching out. I'm reaching outside of the bubble of like people who already play these games, and I'm reaching new people. And that's one of the things that it lets me do. Now, I've had this video up for this thing for years. I do get some ad revenue on the videos, but sometimes they never pay for themselves. Like this one still hasn't paid for itself. But some of them do, like the Darth Vader helmet. That one is doing really well. Like my Darth Vader helmet unboxing, that one has paid for itself. The lightsabers may. Some of them have. Like my Mace Windu video did really well, and that one did great, but the Darth Maul ones didn't. It's funny, Darth Maul's, you'd think Darth Maul, more people would want to see that, but more people were interested in Mace Windu than Darth Maul. The same thing with Asajj and Kit Fisto. They don't have very many views right now, but over time they'll keep pulling more people in. They'll keep getting more people to this channel, and more people will discover games like X-Wing, Armada, Legion, games like Star Wars Rebellion or Nemesis, and all this awesome hobby content. And that's one of the reasons I do those things. So, and plus they're fun. It's fun to just swing lightsabers around on camera. They look really good. If you haven't seen, I'm going to show you the Kit Fisto real quick, because you guys will probably get a kick out of this. I swear, because this is a live stream, right? I'm not applying any effects here. I'm not applying any special effects, but check this out. Tell me this does not look like movie quality lightsaber blade, right? It's really bright, and it looks like a real lightsaber. Now up close you can see it's not. Like if I hold it really close to the camera, you can see it's wow. Yeah, there you go. When it focuses a little bit, you can see it's just the plastic in there. But when I pull it back, it looks like there's kind of CGI or special effects on this thing. So it looks really cool, and that tells you how bright it is. When the batteries are new too, they're especially really, really bright. But so they're fun, and they show up really good on film. I've had a lot of people accuse me of using using special effects on them, but really cool stuff. But anyway, let me circle back, because I'm going to probably start winding this down. We've got some really cool news coming up soon. So Fantasy Flight is not going to be streaming the in-flight brief to YouTube. They're going to be streaming it only on Twitch. They will put it up on YouTube after the fact. It's going up after the fact. So you can definitely check that out on their YouTube channel once it's over. But if you want to watch with me, I'm going to try and restream it. I don't think nobody said anything any reason why I can't, basically stream it at the same time. I probably won't have it take up the whole screen. I'll probably have a frame around it or something like that. Or maybe it'll be like a reaction, I don't know. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do it. But basically, if you want to watch it, I'll stream it there, and it'll be kind of like a live, like we'll do like a pre-show. We'll talk about it, and then when they get ready to start, I'll make it full screen. We can watch it there. Then I'll take it back down and and then we can talk and like have like the live show, like the live after show, right? Like that'll be fun. So I'll do that. And I might even pause. You know what we'll do? And I'm open to feedback. So if you're watching this, if you're watching live, you can let me know now, or if you're watching this after the fact, you can let me know in the comments. But what I'm thinking of doing is we'll do the whole thing. We'll do like the pre-show. The whole thing will go live. We'll go live. We'll start talking about it. As soon as they wrap up, we'll take a pause. We'll take like a 5-minute break. But use the bathroom, get yourself a drink or whatever. Then we'll sit down and then we'll talk about it. Right? I think that's a cool idea. Then we'll come back with like a separate live stream, like 5-10 minutes later, something like that. Give everybody a chance to like get some food or to process everything, to digest everything. I think that'll be a fun way to do it. And then of course there's gonna be a lot more stuff. I'm gonna try and see what kind of interviews I can get. And there's also gonna be Atomic Mass Games, their live stream or their presentation for X-Men. There's gonna be a lot of X-Men talk, so all you X-Men fans out there, get hyped. Rewatch the old Fox. Dum 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 dum. All right, I'm sorry about the singing, but yes, dude, like how many of you guys love that theme song? Right here, like every Saturday. Great stuff. Watch it again. It's on Disney Plus now. Oh, and the new X-Men movie, Days of Future Past, I think just went on Disney Plus too. So. Yeah, so that's super fun. Super fun. All right, guys, I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. If you'd like to support the channel, again, one more reminder, you can check out the merchandise down there. We've got the masks. They're doing this thing where they donate $1 every time you buy a face mask. We've also got the neck gaiters. There's bags, t-shirts, double critical stuff, X-Wing Armada shirts, all kinds of stuff like that. So. Yeah, that's helpful also. And then there's also Patreon. New giveaways happening each month on Patreon too that are just extra stuff. Plus you can get your name in the credits for regular videos and stuff like that. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. I want to thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.